welcome to our midterm movie on the Civil War, starring Jada McCluskey, Amanda Gilmore, Ellie McCarran, and Dean Mowdy. Special thanks to Ryan and Eileen. Hope you enjoy.
Today we are holding this meeting because the legislature stands for our way of life, to the ideals of, as many of you have been informed, Abraham Lincoln, who has just been elected president.
What about the people's labor?
What about the land?
What does this mean?
Yes, I understand. We, the people of South Carolina, are in disagreement. We have been threatened.
What are we going to do?
As an act of showing where we stand, we are going to vote upon the decision to be removed from the United States Union. Take a vote.
Not only did South Carolina feel threatened, but they wanted to keep their way of life. They were in disagreement with the new president, Abraham Lincoln. This led to South Carolina being the first seceding state from the Union. Can someone name another state that may have been a part of wanting to reform the Union?
Georgia?
Very good! Many southern states like Louisiana, Florida, Mississippi, and Texas.
Come learn more about our U.S. history. Courses can be taken at your local library. For more information, call 856-555-1029.
This is Jeopardy!
This is Jeopardy!
Hello all, this is Civil War Jeopardy. I am your host, Luke Ambrose. To start off this game of Civil War Jeopardy, question 1. The Union had a small but efficient government, army, and navy. The Civil War was the deadliest war fought on American soil, with an estimated how many soldiers killed?
500,000.
Wrong.
600,000 to 2 million?
Yay! On to question 2. This is double Jeopardy, worth 800 points. Be ready. The Union had a big advantage compared to the Confederacy in what aspects?
Population, manufacturing, and railroads.
That's correct! On to question 3. The Union included 20 strong northern states and 4 border states, with an estimated how many free people compared to the South's 5.5 million free people and 3.5 million enslaved. Ken.
18 to 20 million?
Yes, the North had 18 to 20 million free people. We will see everyone after the break. Welcome back. I am your host, Luke Ambrose. We are on to question 4. This is triple Jeopardy. 1,200 points. The Union had a huge advantage because most of what was located in the North. Ken.
Railroads.
Correct.
Okay.
Question 5. Though the South had much more farming and agriculture, the Union had a huge advantage because it had how many horses?
3.4 million.
Yes. Good job, Lisa. On to question 6. Financially, the Union had about $234 million in bank deposits and specie, while the border states had a mere $29 million in bank deposits and specie. What states made up the border states?
Maryland, West Virginia, Missouri, and Kentucky.
Yes, good job. On to question 7. Though the South was larger than the North in terms of land area, they only had about $74 million. During the peak of battle time, Union soldiers outnumbered Confederate soldiers with a ratio of about 2 to 1. What year was peak battle time in the Civil War?
1863.
Good job, Lisa. Question 8. About 463,000 Confederate soldiers were captured across the span of the entire war. This is about double compared to the how many Union soldiers that were taken prisoner.
Around 212,000.
Good job. And last but not least, question 9. Which side, the Union or the Confederacy, ended up with more casualties? Lisa.
The Union.
Correct. The Union ended up with 642,427 casualties, while the Confederacy ended up with 483,026 total casualties. Yes, I love the Civil War. Breaking news.
Hello, my name is Mary. It is April 23rd, 1863. I'm reporting on the conflicts between the Union and Confederacy. It is known that the main dispute between North and South right now is the subject of slavery. The Union believes in the abolishment of enslavement of men, women, and children, while the Confederacy is built upon the white supremacy which supports slavery. It is just came in that Alexander Stephens has stated, "Foundations are laid, its cornerstone rests upon the great truth that the Negro is not equal to white men, that slavery, subordination to the superior race, is his natural and normal condition."
We will get back to you when we receive more information. Come join an AIDS society today. Choose from 20,000 different AIDS societies created by women providing supplies and care for sick and wounded soldiers. They span from the North to the South and are area specific. If you are in the North, reach out to Mary Midterm, who is head of the Colored Ladies Soldiers AIDS Society of St. Louis, Missouri. There are also other societies such as Sick Soldiers Relief Society and Soldiers AIDS Society. For more information, call the Civil Society Hotline. Who was the most influential woman of the Civil War?
I'm here with Harriet Tubman, renowned abolitionist, social activist, and former slave who saved thousands of lives. Here we have Rose O'Neal Greenhow, who led the biggest Confederate espionage of the Civil War and left a legacy of being a Confederate hero. And lastly, we have Clara Barton, founder of the Red Cross and hospital nurse and educator during the Civil War.
I'm Harriet Tubman, and I'm obviously the most influential woman because I freed and enslaved the lives of thousands
Talk louder. You just keep going on this.
of slaves and soldiers. I also had a little side hustle of spying on the Confederate missions with General David Hunter.
Don't even get me started on spying. I formed one of the most complex and successful spy networks in history, made up of 48 women and 2 men. My team used everything from complicated cipher and coded messages to smuggling information in our hair to spy on the Union.
Girls, enough with the spy talk. You may have been good at collecting information, but you were so careless with storing and organizing it. That's why you got caught by the Union soldiers and imprisoned in your house in 1861.
Yes, I may have been caught, but I still continued to lead my spy network from imprisonment. by bribing guards and collecting and organizing information. Beat that.
Rose, at least I lived a full life of tribute and gratitude, alright? And I was abolitionist, social activist, spy, nurse, and you name it. I did it. Rose O'Neill Green Cow. Drowned in the 1864 after trying to escape the Union spies.
Neither of you were really in the rough of the war compared to me. I was one of the first volunteers to join the Washington Infantry, providing everything from medical care, clean blankets, water, and clothes. I even trained able-bodied men to treat injured soldiers. By 1863, I was traveling up and down the coast organizing aid teams and treating causeless injured Union soldiers and Confederate prisoners.
No one was a better manipulator than me. I can gain a general's trust with the wink of my eye. You all will never know the amount of information I gathered from both the Union and Confederacy. Harriet, Clara, you all should go try and build a spy empire from the ground up.
Rose, you could talk your talk, but you'd have never survived the things I've done, such as rescue 700 slaves along the Columbia River and Colonel James Montgomery during the war.
I mean, I founded the Red Cross and was appointed general correspondent for the Friends of Paroled Prisoners by President Abraham Lincoln in 1865. So I gotta be the winner of this debate.
We may never know who the most influential woman of the Civil War was. That choice is up to you.
This is CNN Breaking News.
Hello, it's Jada McCluskey reporting to you live from CNN. Today is November 19th, and we are taking a historical trip back to the Gettysburg Address. This was a short speech that had drawn a lot of attention in 1863. This speech was given on what becomes one of the bloodiest battlefields of the Civil War in July. So what was so important about the Gettysburg Address? Abraham Lincoln didn't write a speech just to explain what it meant to save the Union. It meant to give freedom and equality to all men. It spoke on the morale of soldiers who lost their lives fighting. It had become a turning point. When the Battle of Gettysburg happened later on, it had become the Union's victory. Had the Gettysburg Address encouraged the North's fight and endured its strength? Anyways, that's all for today. Maybe a check back to history isn't such a mystery, and for all we know, it's just our human history. We hope to see you again on CNN. Once Abraham Lincoln had become president, the United States didn't feel so united anymore. Abraham had his ideas of democracy. He was a man strongly decided on where he stood between the controversy of slavery. Politically, he understood it'll never work. Here are some of his famous quotes.
A house divided against itself cannot stand. I believe this government cannot endure permanently half slave and half free. I do not accept the Union to dissolve. I do not accept the house to fall, but I do expect it will cease to divide. It will become one thing or of all the other. If slavery is not wrong, nothing is wrong. I leave you here, hoping the lamp of liberty will burn in your bosoms until there shall no longer be the doubt that all men are free and equal.
Some of these, out of many of his other quotes, speak such bravery in a time like the 1860s. Written in the Constitution, all men are created equal. But it was Abraham Lincoln who truly wanted all men created equal.
Here today, we are seated with Abraham Lincoln's wife, Mary Todd Lincoln. Today, we will learn about how the assassination of her husband occurred. To start, Mary, set the scene of this tragedy.
Yes, on April 14th, 1865, me and my husband went to see our comedy, Our American Cousin, at Ford's Theater. We brought 2 guests with us, Major Henry R. Rathbone and his fiancée Clara Harris. We were watching the performance in a box off the stage.
Can you explain what happened that night?
At 10:15 p.m., the assassin, we later found out, was named John Wilkes Booth, fired his gun at the back of Lincoln's head. He jumped over the balcony, and with a broken leg, he escaped the theater. In the audience was Dr. Charles Lyell, who went to check Lincoln out. The bullet went through his left ear and lodged behind his right eye. This had my husband paralyzed, barely breathing. 9 hours later, he passed.
So, Mary, how did this affect your life?
Seeing your husband get shot is the most traumatizing thing one can see. I've been scarred from this tragic occurrence, but also America has.
Thank you, Mary, for giving us the details about the assassination. Thank you, America, for tuning in. Here we have live footage of Lincoln's assassination.
Nine hours later.
My poor husband.
I'm so sorry, Mary.
Abe.
Is there anything I
wake
can
up.
do?
Abe.
Is there anything I can do, Mary? I am so sorry.
Abe. Rest in peace. Quick facts with Ellie. Did you know President Abraham Lincoln was shot and almost killed about 2 years before he was assassinated? While riding home from the White House on his horse one August night in 1863, Lincoln was shot at. The bullet went right through his top hat. Lincoln wanted the ordeal to be kept under wraps because he didn't want to worry his wife, Mary. Number 2. Black Union soldiers refused to pay for their first year and a half of battle because of the salary difference between white and black soldiers. In 1863, black Union soldiers were being paid about $10 a month, with a $3 monthly fee on clothing, while white Union soldiers were being paid a minimum of $13 a month. This means white Union soldiers were earning almost double what black Union soldiers were earning for the same amount of work. Because of this huge wage gap, some black regiments started refusing their pay cuts to make a statement. By September of 1864, the pay structure was fixed after abolitionists and social activists pressured Congress to fix it. This was huge for black soldiers, as they could finally provide for their families. Number 3. The Civil War was so deadly that about 2% of the population died during it. That's at least 620,000 casualties out of the 3 million men that fought. Battle wounds were a big contributor to death, but disease was the number 1 killer during war. For every man that died of injury, double the amount died of disease. Number 4. Though Ulysses S. Grant was known as the bloodiest general of the Civil War, statistically, Robert E. Lee was actually the deadliest general. Grant's troops did have twice the amount of casualties as Lee's, but percentage-wise, Lee's troops had more casualties. Thanks for coming to Quick Facts with Ellie. Thank you for watching our 2023 midterm. Go Panthers. What's a song?
That was actually kind of funny.
How many people? Ken.
Around 19 million?
Sure. On to question 6. Financially, the Union had about 234 million in bank deposits and specie, while the border states, what included, fuck me, oh my god!